So today, Tuesday, and this is the segment where we talk about different books, different things that I've read so far. And first, I just want to share this is my first note segment. This is my first book segment. Okay, the note segment is for Thursday. What I want to explain and share to y'all is that it's very important that you read books. It's very important that you write. It's very important that you are educating and studying what successful people do in their life. Okay. Now, the reason I say it's very important for that is because you have to have a sense of direction. You got to know where you're going. You got to know what it is that you are trying to do in your life. But how would you figure that out? How would you know where you want to go if you don't have markers, if you don't have goals? And what are you basing these goals off of? Okay, for example, I would say for me, when I was younger, I used to think that having a Lamborghini in a giant mansion with a bunch of people coming in and out the house was what I wanted. Like not being able to not do nothing. And then once I got a little older, I started realizing and understanding that one, you don't need as much as what you think. You don't need as much as what you think, okay? And if you do have more than what you require, more than what you want, there are some things that you have to learn. There are some things that you have to experience and understand. Once you get these assets in your life, we'll call them assets. Once these assets come about your life, it is now up to you. It's now up to you to keep them. It's up to you to maintain them. And there are some lessons that you will have to learn in your life. There are some lessons that you will have to learn in your life once you obtain some form of money. All right. Um, Now that takes me into this book. All right. The book I was reading is called "F.U. Money" by Dan Lok. All right. Let y'all see it. "F.U. Money" by Dan Lok. Okay. Now this book right here, I just started reading it. You know, but he just asks you questions about being in the rat race. He just asks you do you need more time or more money, or do you need more of both? It's like, would you like to never work again? And throughout this book, he has these little segments where you have to take notes. You have to write down thoughts and feelings. You have to write down different things in your life that make you question how much money you want, or make you put into a like I would say a distinct description. Like you got to narrow down and be very specific about what it is that you want, how much it costs, and by what time do you want it. Now I know that to be true because other books I've read where it says the same thing. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's a good book. A few things I read about Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is a billionaire. Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor also tells you and teaches you different things on how to think and how to carry yourself, okay? And the thing that people got to understand is these things take time. And he says it in his book. These things take time. But he was like, it doesn't take as long as what you think. It doesn't take as long as what you believe it will take. All right, now you have to be able to manage time. You got to be able to manage so many things. But it's these steps along the way that you got to go through in order to learn how to manage these things, okay? If you can't manage the small stuff you got in your life, why are you asking for the big stuff? You can't even manage the five, 600, $700,000 you have in your life currently. So how is it that you're gonna manage 100,000, 500,000? Because if you don't got no structure, no discipline on what you want to do with your money, and you're just blowing it, you're gonna go back to being at this level that you are currently. Okay? You're gonna go back down to the level that you are at currently, and it's not about being in a space where you can give. Well, I mean, it might be though for you. You get to a successful level, you can give, do what you want to do. That's cool. But this book is very interesting read, yo. Like the reason I like this book is because one, I'm big on wanting money. I'm big on like wanting to have money. And you place yourself around others who talk about the money, who want to move in this direction of the space. You get a lot of people who kind of don't want you talking about money. One, because they probably don't have it themselves, or they want to attach money to being evil and all these other things. I don't know about all of that. All I know is I know how I feel once I start getting some money. Okay? Everybody knows it. Somebody walk up to you right now and hand you $100, you're gonna lose your mind. You're gonna go crazy like, dang, bro gave me $100. It's the same thing right now. All right. And it's just some interesting things I learned about FU Money. So he talks about the stock market. He's like, yo, the stock market takes a long time to get to the money. Now, I also myself invest into the stock market. I do. Now, at your own caution, do your own research. I'm not going to go into like what I invest in and things like that. But, you know, it takes a long time to get to a certain number with that. But the thing is, you still have it in the background while going towards what you want. You need currency, you need revenue now. So he was explaining how in this book he got there through cars. He got there through cars. Okay? How fast can you grow your money? Now, the reason I say that is because he breaks it down. He says, I make this much a year. And the response was in the book, like it was a dialogue type of conversation he was having in his book. And the person was like, Dan, $600,000 a year. Everybody can't make that. That's a lot. And he was like, true, when you look at it from that standpoint. But when something's too big for you, what should you do? You should break it down into smaller steps. When you break things down into smaller steps, any and everything becomes easy to do. And so he was like, break the $600,000 for that year down into 12 months. Okay? And still, if that's still a lot of money to you, break it down into an even smaller category. How much is that per week? Then he broke it down to how much it is per day. And I believe the number was around like $1,700. He was like, now $1,700 a day still might be a lot to others. He was like, okay, so break it down like how much you need, how much of a product you need to sell per hour. He's like, at this rate, all I have to do is sell 2 or 3 things per hour for the day. So if you sell 2 or 3 things each hour throughout the day at your set price or whatever, he's like, you'll make your money and you'll be able to live at this level that you want to live. Now, I got a story about that. I know that to be true because I used to have a small car washing business, and I also had a car rental service. And this is why I say you got to go through the steps to understand how and why you need to place yourself around others who value and view currency, assets, liabilities the same way you do. I had a car rental service, I had a car washing service, and I was on the verge of having my own house to where I could rent out the rooms to college students. Now, that's not much, but at a house where you're paying rent like 700, 800 bucks and you're renting out 3 rooms, but I turned the laundry room and something else into another room, like it just got to the point where it was just like, okay, rent is $800, but I'm renting out all 5 of these spaces for $300 each. That's 1,500. Take away what you owe in rent, utilities, bills, they'll cover those. I was making like what, a $600, $700 profit. Okay, the car wash. I understood like where I was living at the time. The elderly in this community, they're not finna get up and go outside in 80, 90 degree weather and wash their car every single week. That's where I come in. That's where I came in. But I understood, okay, I'm bringing this service to y'all, so I have a right to charge what I need to charge. I was charging $50 a car wash. And I was trying to get to the point where, okay, if I could wash 4 cars a day, that's 200. That's $200 right there. Okay? Now, if I could wash 5 cars a day, that's 250. If I could wash 6 cars a day, that's 300. Now, why do I increase the price in that? Is because what I can use for expenses, I do that. And the rest will be mine. The rest is what I'll keep, okay, as far as a profit. All right, what's next? The car rental service. I had a Snapchat at the time with 1,000, 2,000 like kids that follow me on Snapchat. All high school, college kids. Okay, I was just now fresh off of leaving college, probably like 2, 3 years removed. Okay, so I still had a following of all these people that follow me on Snapchat, and I would advertise my car being for rent on Snapchat. Now it took a while, it took a minute, but eventually it started picking up. And on Snapchat, I was renting my car out for $100 a day. All right. I had my work van that I was using to wash cars. I had a mobile detailing service because I was bringing a service to them. I would take the equipment out of that at the end of the night or the end of the day and list it for car rentals at night because the sun was going down. Nobody's gonna wash their car at night. I'll rent that out for half a night. That's $30 for the night. You got to bring it back, okay? $30 for the night. So think about that. I'm going to wash 4, 5, 6 cars for $50 each, plus the car rentals every day. And this doesn't happen every day. It isn't every day I'm washing 4 cars. It isn't every day I'm renting out my both the cars for an extra 130. Because in total, that would be somewhere between $400 or $500 a day. And now the reason I broke the math down like that with this book, like how he broke it down, $300 a day for 365 days straight is, I believe, close to 100,000 if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere between $300 and $400 every day for a year straight, 365 days, you'll make 100,000. And that's the thing that I was understanding. That's the thing I was getting at. But what happens is, and these are the things I'm learning with this right here. These are the things I'm learning with this right here. You start placing yourself in these positions, you start having these ideas. Well, if I make enough money here, I can put a down payment on getting a nice duplex, triplex, quadplex, and I can rent out more rooms. See, my mind started working, my brain started working. Like, you have to start placing yourself around people who think like this. You got to start reading books like this and understand the power of changing, like, your thinking process, okay? A lot of people say that's what they want, but it's a lot of people who don't do the work. A lot of people say that's what they want, but they don't have them talks. They don't have those conversations. They always delay those conversations. But they take in all the conversations about going out, about partying, drinking, smoking, turning up with their friends. Like, it's different things that people do. And I know this to be true because I used to stay in a house with people who would think that way. Now, you can't really knock what people do with their life if you don't have a better sense of direction, if you don't have a better idea on what they should do. Okay? And I understood that. And what happened was it started to cause a divide a little bit. I started using all my time and resources profit, towards profit. Okay? And the response is sometimes when you're starting to change your life, when you're starting to move your life, when you're starting to operate your life in a different dynamic that everyone around you is accustomed to, you no longer fit. So because you no longer fit, it now, I'll say, it now happened to a point where, people will tell you, all you care about is money. All you think about is money. You chose money over this, you chose money over that. And it starts making you feel a bit uncomfortable. It starts making you feel a bit uneasy about what it is that you're doing. And this is why as you grow, as you elevate, you got to start placing yourself around the right people. It caused a lot of problems where I was at. People was damaging my stuff. People was tearing up the equipment and things I had. People would unpurposely try to disrespect what you're doing just to keep you where you at with them. And it's definitely a hard thing to manage. It's a hard thing to manage. But you'll learn how to manage these things the more, one, you lose your money, the more you go up and down with your funds, okay? And the more setbacks you start taking, you're going to start respecting money way more. And the thing is, you got to understand where people are in their life. Some people don't respect money because they don't have it. Some people respect money because they have it, because they lost it, because they had the ups and downs with it. Man, your mental get checked when you lose your money, and so does your heart. And so does the people around you. Let you go up and down with resources, with currency, with income, with assets, with liabilities. You're going to see the things around you change a lot, okay? This book right here is a definite read. I recommend a lot of people check this book out. It's a real good book. I like it. I'm only 2 chapters in. But the thing is, I like to keep these segments about what I'm reading. Let me see if I can find something for you. All right, so he's talking in the first chapter about what is FU money. Okay, FU money is getting to a certain point where you don't have to answer to anyone. Okay, if you want to do it, you don't have to sit, budget, like figure it out. You just go. Okay, you just go. And that's the thing where, one, others will build their lifestyle to that point, and then they can do whatever they want. Others will take a break from the lifestyle that they don't want, go get distracted, go have fun for a little bit, then come back. All right, yeah, it's time to go back to work. Let's get back to work. That is what I don't want for my life. That is what you shouldn't want for your life. Like going out on a trip, going out on a vacation, going out with friends or family. You done expensed all your funds to go somewhere, and then now you gotta hustle. Now you gotta get it back. Now you gotta do all these things to get the money back, and it's just like it's too much. You're gonna lose your mind because you're chasing temporary things for permanent freedom, and it's like you gotta do it the other way. You gotta put off temporary things to pursue the freedom that you want forever. And it's like it's very important of who you place in your life. It's very important who you have in your life. It's very important. It's very important that you know who is in your life. It's very important who you keep around you. Because being around the wrong people, the mistakes they make with, one, their money, the mistakes they make with their time, their resources, their everything, what it now does is it puts you in a position to where you got to make a choice. Am I going to help them? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And you got to understand, when you say no, it's some things out here that happen with people when you say no. And you got to understand, people have not got to that point where they value anything in their life because everybody's giving it to them. Everybody's just allowing them to be dependent. And that's one of the things I had to learn and change is getting out of that dependent mindset. You have to get out of the dependent mindset. Once you get out of that mindset, you don't realize how deep in a hole you are on that dependency. And you got to change it. You got to change it. That's something to think about. Dan Lok, FU money. And y'all know what FU means. FU money. Check it out. If you haven't, it's a really great read.